All right, y'all, 340. Hello, everyone. It is digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four. Of course, the live stream where I go through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. I hope you all enjoyed today's Fastcasts, which started today at 3. This is a new thing we are launching here across our streaming platforms, and I hope you all enjoyed it. But wherever you're watching Before the 4 today, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream, as always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a little bit of your Wednesday afternoon here. Now, we have quite a bit to jump into, so I say it is time we start things off. And let's begin this afternoon with the murder trial of Shaniqua Brown as a verdict came in earlier today. Brown was found guilty by a Madison County jury on her murder charge. Brown was charged with the murder of Jasmine Moore back in 2019. Brown also had a sexual relationship with Huntsville lead homicide investigator in the case, Julian Johnson. Johnson is no longer an employee with the Huntsville Police Department. Now, today's verdict came just 2 hours after closing arguments, and 48's Callie Neese will have the latest that transpired today in court, the verdict, and what's next for Brown's legal team coming up in our evening newscast, so stay tuned for that. But now let's take a look at the weather. The threat of rain and thunderstorms remain on the radar for tomorrow afternoon. 48 First Alert meteorologist Jeff Denoyer has a look at what to expect over the next few days.
The WAFF 48 forecast meteorologist Jeff Denoyer tracked some showers and some gusty winds last night. But today's been mainly just cloudy, a few little spotty showers. I did see a little sun when I came in, but it was short-lived. More showers, few rumbles of thunder tonight after mainly 10 o'clock. Your temperatures fall back in the low 60s. Some of the rainfall could be heavy at times. Not everybody gets a storm. Probably favors areas east of I-65. Nonetheless, whatever falls is out of here tomorrow morning. But then we do it again in the afternoon. Some shower storms, heavy rain, gusty winds, and also the threat for some small hail, dangerous lightning. Another round of storms Friday afternoon, and we're not out of the woods with the rainfall yet for the weekend. Still some showers Saturday and Sunday. How wet each day is still needs to be determined, but it does look like there'll be at least some kind of shower activity for both days on the weekend, and the shower opportunities will continue for early next week too, for Monday and Tuesday with highs in the low to mid 70s.
And staying in weather, tomorrow marks 1 year since an EF3 tornado rolled through Limestone County, devastating many homes in the Brigadoon community. 48's Claudia Peppenhorst follows up on the community 1 year later.
And the miracle of all this was nobody got hurt.
May 8th marks 1 year since an EF3 tornado tore through the Brigadoon community in Limestone County. The damage was unimaginable, and thankfully there were no injuries. But residents say their life is still forever changed.
I honestly was in total disbelief because it happened so fast.
John Fuller and his wife were some of the residents hit hardest by those storms. Their home was essentially torn apart by the tornado. They both took cover in their storm shelter, but once they emerged after the storm passed, they discovered that they had lost everything.
We were devastated. Yeah, honestly, it was for weeks, and after that, just completely in shock.
But the thing he remembers the most from that day is the outpouring of love from his community. Hardly 15 minutes after the storm, people were out with chainsaws, clearing the roads to make sure everyone was okay.
That rapid response, and it just blew me away because so many people came so quickly to our aid.
Now, the couple has rebuilt their home and life is almost back to normal. Fuller says they will use this anniversary as a reminder of their blessings.
My wife and I started a blessings journal the minute that we got to my son's house that evening, because we couldn't believe how, through this tragedy, God has blessed us.
3 doors down from the Fullers is Ed Freeman. His family had just moved from the West Coast to Limestone County when the storms hit.
Moving from California to here, we knew we were trading earthquakes for tornadoes. We just didn't know we were going to get one so soon.
He says the majority of their damage was actually caused by debris from other houses. As soon as the coast was clear, he joined his fellow neighbors to start walking the neighborhood to make sure everyone was all right.
It was really nice to see that people were concerned for each other.
How he tells me that his family is pretty much back to normal, besides a few ongoing patch-ups to their house. But he has two takeaways from that day.
Positive to take away. Praise the Lord. It's just good to have insurance too.
And now staying in Limestone County, an Austin Peay football player was killed in a wreck heading south on I-65 last night. Limestone County Coroner Mike Wuest told 48 that a vehicle left the road, flipped several times, and the car was stopped on Piney Chapel Road. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, earlier today, we learned the name of the victim, 22-year-old William Hardrick, sadly passed away. Hardrick was an Austin Peay transfer football player. He had played for Mississippi State and Miami, Ohio, before transferring to Austin Peay for his senior year. He was from Adamsville, Alabama. And State Trooper Brandon Bailey says there were a total of 8 different wrecks on I-65 last night. State troopers also say the southbound lanes on I-65 from mile markers 334 to 361 remained closed for some time. We'll be sure to update you with the latest as we learn more. And just this afternoon, minutes ago, we learned that a man is now charged with the murder. His name is John McAdams. He is charged with that murder death of William Hardrick. We'll have all the latest coming up in our evening newscast from 48's Faith Delp. But now let's head into a story in case you missed it out of Huntsville. A quick warning, the video you're about to see may be disturbing. A couple is scared to stay in their own home after they caught a man on camera peeping into their daughter's bedroom window. 48's Nick Ballinger has the story.
Huntsville parents Jerry Leverett and Jenna Farah say they've spent the last 36 hours living with fear and disbelief.
You look at your window, the last thing you want to see is someone gazing in at you, and it's a scary, freaky, terrifying feeling.
The last thing she wanted to see is exactly what she saw early Monday morning.
My daughter woke me up at almost 5 o'clock saying there was someone at the door.
This surveillance footage not only shows someone was at the door, you can see a man peeking through their daughter's window. We've blurred his face because he hasn't been charged yet. But watch what he does here as he appears to stick his hand down his pants.
There's a rage that came with that I've never felt before.
Timestamps show he was there for over an hour. You can even see another man confront him before he tells him to leave. Farah says he even motioned for her daughter to come outside.
If she had been naive enough to open that door, you already know what would have happened.
They called Huntsville police 3 different times, but each time they were told they couldn't arrest him immediately. A spokesperson for Huntsville police told me a case has been opened for aggravated criminal surveillance charges. Investigators are reviewing footage to determine the level of crime. If they find the video is enough to prove he was sexually gratifying himself, they'll issue a warrant on felony charges.
That's what I want.
Yeah,
I mean, I would be
100% behind them. It's
Yeah,
exactly what I'd like to see happen.
Until then, Leverett says he's left to worry and wonder where the man is.
Or where he's going to be tonight and what he's going to do. If he is going to get in somebody's house, or if he's just going to look through the window, or what. You don't know. I want him to go to jail for a long time. I don't want him hurting or doing this to anybody else.
And now coming up after the break, we'll go through a story in state news. A bill aimed at limiting the amount of legal THC you can buy awaits Governor Ivey's signature. And more details on this Sunday's free show from Microwave Dave. It's all ahead. We'll go through it all in 1 minute. All right, my time is up. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Before the Four. Now, Alabama lawmakers have now passed 2 bills to regulate vapes and THC products sold legally here in the state of Alabama at gas stations and convenience stores. Both bills now await Governor Ivey's signature to be signed into law. WSFA's Sally Pitts has details on both those bills.
You have probably seen these in your local gas station. They are sold as gummies, chips, and even drinks. State Representative Andy Witt says they are unregulated and dangerous.
We reeled in those illegal elements that has been plaguing our communities and our students in our high schools.
Witt sponsored a bill that authorizes the Alabama Alcoholic Beverage Control Board to regulate all consumable hemp products. It also removes it from convenience stores and limits how much you can buy.
When you're able to buy 50 milligrams in Shelby County on Interstate 65 in a slushy machine, we've got a true problem. So I said, get your slushy on the way to the beaches no more.
Representative Witt's bill is now headed to the governor for her signature. So is Representative Barbara Drummond's bill on vapes. Under it, convenience stores would only be able to sell FDA-regulated products, which Drummond says is a small number of what's available. All other products would have to go in 21 and up stores.
From the classrooms to in the community, we saw this becoming an epidemic.
Drummond believes this legislation will save lives.
The reason that I've stayed with this issue for so very long is because of a young man who died in Dallas County. And I was exposed to a 3rd grader last year who is vaping. And this is a problem that is going to affect their health. And I think what this body did from the Senate to the House, our children, we are looking out for their future.
Both bills put fees in place for those who do not follow the rules. Sally Pitts, WSFA 12 News, Montgomery.
And 48 Savannah Sapp will be speaking with one Sand Mountain business that will be impacted by this bill if signed into law, so stick around for that. But now, we spoke about it a bit yesterday, but Sober Sunday. The series that's been going on at St. Stephen's Music Hall on Sundays is continuing this Sunday with a free show from legendary Huntsville blues artist Microwave Dave. The other day, I got the chance to speak with not only Microwave Dave, but Stephanie Jennings with Best Life Recovery, Evan Billiter with St. Stephen's, and Kim Holder with Not One More Alabama. A major topic of our interview, ending the stigma. Take a listen to what Kim Holder had to say about that.
And I think everybody has a right to recover out loud. So that kind of goes back to the stigma that you were talking about earlier. You know, I can be a voice today with a little over 12 years of sobriety for people who may not have found their voice yet, or for people who have lost their voice. And to me, you know, that's worth everything I do in a day, to be able to stand up and proudly say I'm a person in long-term recovery. And if I can say it out loud in front of enough people, then somebody's going to hear it that needs to follow that path as well, and they'll see that it's not such a difficult journey after all. So they can wander and wander, but they're never lost, you know?
That's right. And what is some advice you would give to someone just now starting their recovery journey?
I would say probably the biggest positive influence in my recovery has been the community I surrounded myself with. You know, I got sober through a program of recovery where fellowship was a huge part of that program. But also, aside from that, I make sure today that my circle is a circle of people who have my back no matter what. I work with some amazing individuals. My family is very supportive of my recovery. And so, you know, you don't necessarily have that immediately in sobriety. Everybody's still a little mad at you sometimes. But you can find your people. They're out there. You know, there are programs of recovery from that every aspect of life now. There used to be, I think, just a very straight path from addiction and alcoholism into recovery, and now there are so many different pathways But one of the biggest features in every pathway is the community. So that community involvement. Johann Hari, who is a famous author, one of the lines that he did in a TED Talk says that the opposite of addiction is connection. And so it's kind of like an antidote to me. I just surround myself with good people, and good things tend to happen.
Very wise words there from Kim Holder with Not One More Alabama. And you can find that full 48 Now interview with more details on Sunday's event right now on our website. Just go to WAFF.com. But certainly sounds like an awesome time for a great cause. It's free. They have Microwave Dave on stage. It's going to be a great time, and you're just not going to want to miss it. And speaking of which, let's head into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. More snowplows coming to the Huntsville community. We'll go through those details, the latest on the fallen officer service here in Huntsville, and finally the latest on the wind damage in Decatur last night. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock newscasts. And now, of course, it is time for Facebook fun. That is right. Our 48 Facebook question of the day today: where do you find the best deals while grocery shopping? And for me, I am tried and true. I used to be a Walmart guy, but a Food City recently opened up across the street from where I live, and I find myself going to Food City just about every day. I don't know if they have the best deals. I know their sandwiches are pretty cheap, $5 sandwiches. So my place to find the best deals while grocery shopping is Food City. But let's see what you all had to say. And feel free to leave a comment on Facebook, on YouTube. I will be checking for them over here. If I don't see them during the live stream, I will be looking at them after. But let's see. Mary Roberts said Aldi. That is a good one. Cannot go wrong with Aldi, of course. Walmart and Foodland. Those are two solid places as well. Can't go wrong with that. Walmart is a bit crowded at times. I don't always love going to Walmart, but I do know they have some of the best deals. Can't beat those prices. That is for sure. And I like this one. Hey, we got Food City right here from Scott Martin. Me and you both. And then I am going to do one more. Let's see, Kroger. And you agree with my coworker. She's on the digital staff here, Javon. She said her go-to place is Kroger. So I guess great minds think alike, 100%. But thank you all for commenting on today's 48 Facebook question of the day. I hope you all have a great night. Enjoy tonight's evening newscast. And as always, thank you so much for watching.